welcome to another episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. Okay, the best advice I can give you on painting is use a nice wide brush, and I always tend to use a soft brush, because what I find with soft brushes is it not only spreads the paint more evenly, but it also gets into all of the cracks quite easy. And I find if you use a stiffer brush, you tend to get a lot of sort of brush marks and that in the wood. Now, never scrimp on the paint that you're using. I'm using cuprinol paint here. There are other brands that are obviously just as good, but never be tempted to use any sort of creosote or anything like that, and most certainly don't use sump oil, because you're wasting your time with that. It'll just wash off and get all over the plant. So the best way to paint wood, I find, is to get a reasonable amount of paint on your brush, and then sort of put that all over your wood, and then basically work it in, you know, brush 3 or 4 times over one area. And then if you're going into a shaped area like I'm at the back here, I know you can't quite see it, make sure you know, you sort of work it down into all of the cracks. And what you can find with wood that's been outside is, as it's expanded and contracted, you get sort of cracks in the wood. And what you really need to do is to make sure that you put plenty of paint on the areas that are cracked, and you know, sort of work the paint in so it fills the crack with paint. Then obviously your wood will be best protected. Now, what I've got on the floor here is just a piece of aluminium, so anything will do really. You can use, if you've not got any bits of wood or plastic or anything like that, or aluminium like I've got, you know, just an old cloth or a bit of polythene, or, you know, an old bag or something like, you know, bin bag or something like that. And what you can do then is, you don't need to worry about getting any paint on the floor, because obviously it'll just go onto here, and you know, you can focus on getting the paint on the wood rather than trying to sort of keep to the edges and stuff like that. You know, you can just get your brush and give it a good brush over, and then if you do that, go all the way around once, give it a good hour or so to dry. And in weather conditions that we've got at the moment, it's really nice and warm today, nice and sunny, and there's a nice breeze, so this is ideal conditions for painting. And then as soon as the paint's dried, give it an hour to dry, and then what I recommend is you go around again and paint the whole thing again, because then you put a double coat of protection on there. And also what it will also mean is you may well miss some part the first time round, and the second time round you're bound to catch everything. So just to be absolutely sure, because I mean, if you paint your wood and get it nice, you know, you won't need to paint it then for another 3 or 4 years. So it's worthwhile just spending the time going round and making sure you give it a good coat of paint, and then go once more and give it 2 coats, and then that'll last you, as I say, for 3 or 4 years. Okay, so that's the woodwork around the strawberry plants now painted. So that's been painted twice and allowed to dry. Now what I'm going to do is just have a quick class weed round. I'm going to put a few more tomato plants in here and sort of thicken this up around here a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is put some straw all over the bottom, just to support the fruit as it develops. Okay, so there's the finished strawberry patch. As you can see, I've painted all the wood all the way around. And what I have done is I've just put some straw round the strawberries. Now, if you've never done this before, basically what you need to do is pull the take a handful of straw into like a like a length of it, and then just wrap that around each of the plants. And what you're trying to do is basically to keep the strawberries off the ground. So as the strawberries, say for example these here, as you can see, those two strawberries there, as they develop, they'll basically fall down onto the straw, and then the straw just support the weight. So the straw also gives you another couple of benefits. One, it holds the moisture in to the ground, so it's like a mulch, and it'll keep the the plants nice and moist underneath. But it's also a deterrent for slugs as well. So putting the straw around does help. One bit of advice I would give you is when you do put the straw in, make sure there's no seed in it, because if there are any corn seeds or anything like that, you're going to get loads of corn in your strawberries, which I did one year, and I ended up with loads of corn growing everywhere, and you end up pulling it out and potentially damaging the strawberry plants. So, but that's the strawberry patch ready for this year. Okay, so I'm just putting some peas in, and this is the third batch I've put in. As you know, the first few batches that I've put in have failed. Now these are the Sutton seeds. These are the basically it's called the Hurst green shaft. And what I'm going to be doing is putting these directly into the ground. And what I'm going to be doing is putting plenty in, and hopefully some of them will germinate. So I'm putting sort of rows of 4 in, just about 2 inches apart, and this ground has been well cultivated. It was rotivated right at the beginning of the year. It's also been dug over around a month ago, and it's just been dug over again, so I know that the ground is nice and loose, and that's always important for peas. When you're starting your peas off, what you need is for the peas to have an easy life of getting the roots into the ground, because they are quite reliant on the water, and they're fast growing, so they need good fertile ground with plenty of water, even though it needs to be well drained. It needs to be good fertile soil. Now this had chicken manure put in it at the back end of last year, which is all nicely rotted down, and I've rotated the ground, rotivated the ground, as I say, at the beginning of the year as well. It got dug over last year, at the end of last year, so the ground is really nice and sort of loose and nice and fluffy, so this is the ideal situation really for peas. Now these peas are going to be buried around sort of 2 inches deep, and what I'm going to be doing is making sure that they're kept well watered, and then as soon as they start to develop, what I'll do is I'll bring up the sticks and I'll put some canes around them. Now you probably can't tell from where you are now, but I'm actually in the middle of the first tunnel, so these are going sort of in between the brassicas. The reason I'm putting these in the tunnels, as I always do, is what you can find is birds do like peas, so you need to protect them with net of some kind. Now I put these in the tunnel, but what you can do is obviously grow them in the open ground and then just put some net over, but I find that's not particularly good, because the peas tend to grow up into the net, and then when they throw their little shoots out to hold on to stuff, they tend to hold on to the net, so when you're taking the net off to pick the peas, you tend to damage the plants when you're doing that. So what I like to do is grow them in the tunnels, and then what I find is you can just come in, you don't need to worry about pulling nets off them or anything like that. You can just get in there and pick the peas. Now what I'm going to do is I've got about a third of these are going in about a third of the tunnel, which is at the end. I'm going to be putting the second batch pretty much where the camera is now, so what I'll be doing is putting in sort of 3 batches. The thing is with peas is they all tend to come together, so what you don't want to do is put them all in at once. What you want to do is grow like a succession of peas. So pretty much all of this packet is going to go in here, and I'm not going to be too sparing with the seeds, because of the weather that we've been having. the germination rate's not been brilliant at all. So what I'm going to do is edge my bets, and I'm going to put plenty of seeds in. I'm just making sure that they're spread out as much as possible. And any that are left, I'm going to just sort of sprinkle them around. So you know, I've got plenty of seeds. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that there's plenty here, so I've got at least some of them will germinate. As I say, normally I have a much easier job of germinating peas, so I think that's probably about enough, to be honest with you. I'll just put a few more down around here. So as I say, you know, there's peas pretty much every sort of couple of inches or so. Now this ground is really sort of quite loose, so all I need to do really is just push over the ground. As I say, these are sort of going to end up around 2 inches deep. Now I'm not going to bury that end just quite yet, because what I want to do is mark out where they are. So what I'll do is I'll just put some sticks in and some string ground, just so I know where the peas are. I'm making sure obviously that all the ground is nicely broken up. As you know, you can tell by looking at the ground how easy it breaks. We had a bit of rain this morning, so the ground is nice and sort of crumbly, which is exactly as you want it really when you're doing this kind of thing. So I'm just putting over the dirt so I can see where the edges are. So I'll just put some sticks around now, and I'll put some string and then I'll show you. But what I'm actually going to do is leave kind of an indentation in the ground where the actual peas are, so that I can see where they are. But second reason is when I'm watering them, the water's going to sit where the peas are, so that, you know, the water's not going to go around the edge, and that's basically just going to be watering weeds, etc. So I'm just going to leave a sort of slight indentation like that, and then when I water it, obviously the water's going to sit where the peas are, and the peas are going to get the benefit of the water as best they can. So I'll just show you when I've got it finished. Okay, so that's the peas finished there, so I've just basically put the strings on now. Even though it rained last night, what I'm going to do is give them a really good soaking. As you can see, it's more obvious when I soak them. You can see that the water's actually staying where the peas are, as opposed to going around. Now it's important when you do this, obviously have a rose on the watering can. Obviously that goes without saying, because what you want is you don't want to disturb the ground so much, because you'll get the peas coming to the top. Now I didn't soak the peas before I put them in, which is something I sometimes do, because I want to give them a good watering now. You know, they're going to sit in the ground now and have a good soak, because as you can see now I've almost flooded that area. That'll soon drain away, and hopefully that'll start the peas off and we'll get some peas from that. As I've explained in previous episodes, I've already done 2 batches in the greenhouse in guttering, which I normally do, and both have failed, so this is kind of my 3rd attempt at growing peas this year. Fingers crossed this one will work. Now what I'll do is when they first start to come through, what I might do is put a layer of good compost on top of there, just to hold the moisture in a little bit, as like a bit of a mulch. But apart from that, all I'll do is wait till they've come up, and then I'll put the sort of the sticks and the canes round, so they've got a structure to grow up, and then I shall keep them well watered and leave them to it. Okay, so what I'm going to start to do now, I've got a bit more room in the greenhouse, is to start to put some more flowers in. Now these are hollyhocks, and these are the plants that you see you know, behind the greenhouse here, where the ones I've actually got are white. Now I've actually got 2 more varieties. Now hollyhocks, as I've explained before, are sort of, I don't know, biennial or sort of half-hardy perennials. And basically what you do is you grow them 1 year, then the following year they'll actually sort of grow into fruition, sort of thing. But you can basically sow these right up until June, which is why I've kind of left it till now, to be honest with you. Because what I find is, even though I've got a reasonably large greenhouse, I mean this greenhouse I've got is sort of 10 by 8. What I actually find is if you sow too much too quickly, what you find is you know, you just run out of space in the in the greenhouse. So basically what I tend to do is basically wait till now I've got the tomatoes, and then I can start to sow sort of flowers and stuff like that, which can go in a little bit later. But I'm just going to sow these now. You don't sow these particularly sort of deep, you know, just to sort of, and if I just show you the seed looks like these little sort of rings, if you like. And then if you remember, if last year I actually showed you me taking the seed off the white ones that are here, and these sort of form like a circle, and then the circle breaks into hoops. Now the actual clip of that was actually on the 100th anniversary a couple of days ago of me taking apart the hoop for this. So basically what I'm going to do is put two seeds in each one of these modules. Now this is the modules that I grew the herbs in, and the corn as well. Now the corn's been potted up today, and the obviously the herbs went out a while ago. But these are the ones that I bought from Aldi, which was a good buy. Obviously this is the third time this year I've used them now. But you know, as I say, these sort of seed modules are quite useful, because you can use them 3, 4, 5 times in a season. You know, as your different plants grow. But basically, it's reasonably important that you start at the beginning of the season and think, right, what do I want to grow, and sort of when will I have space or sort of time to grow it, if you like. Now, because most of the vegetables are out now, and obviously the greenhouse is planted up, I can quite easily put one of these little seed tray things on the shelf in the greenhouse and just keep my eye on it now, and then I can obviously pot these up as they grow, and then they'll go straight outside as soon as they've been potted up. And then what I'll do is I'll be putting them in the ground, probably either in the autumn of this year or probably spring next year, and these are going to be going in the herb border at the back to complement the white ones that I've already got. So I should have some white, some red, and some black ones, so it should be a nice display over the back here when all these are going. But we shan't see sort of these come to fruition as such until about sort of July, August time next year. So you know, with hollyhocks, you know, you really need to plan ahead. They are beautiful flowers and they last all season. But so all I need to do now is just give them a bit of water, and as I say, you know, there are a few seeds left there, so I'll just keep them just in case these fail. As I say, these are really well worthwhile, and you know, as I've explained in the past, if we don't get bad frosts, these will actually last over the winter. The ones that are at the back here, the white ones, they've actually been there now about 6 years, and they flower every year, and they really do attract the bees, and that, and they are a beautiful thing to see. So if you do have a sort of quiet corner in your allotment where you want just to put a little bit of colour, hollyhocks are most certainly a plant I'd recommend. They're also nice in the garden, but they most certainly need to go up against a fence or something like that, you know, where they're not going to be battered by wind, because they are sort of 5 or plus foot high when they've fully grown, so the wind can blow them over. So unless you've got a stake that you can put with them or something like that, they're they need to go up against a fence. But that's hollyhocks. So just to remind you, these are the hollyhocks, and these plants, as you can see, they grow sort of, I don't know, right up to here, and you have like sort of loads and loads of white flowers all the way up. So that's kind of the size of plant that they actually grow to when they're all finished. But there's hollyhocks all the way along the back of there. Okay, another plant I'm going to be growing this year is Verbena. Now this isn't to be mistaken with the herb Verbena. You know, you can get, I think there's a herb called lemon Verbena, which has got obviously a lemon scent to it. Now Verbena, it's actually featured on Gardener's World around 2 or 3 weeks ago, and well, you can see the seed of these. That's what the seed pod looks like. Now these are some that I actually saved last year. So all I'm going to do is basically, I've sort of filled these modules again. These are the ones from Aldi. I've filled these modules again with compost. Now, obviously, as I've explained before, if you do save your own seed, the smaller the seed, the the shallower it goes in a seed tray. So as you can imagine, you know, these don't need to go very deep at all. And I'm putting, obviously I've got loads of seeds here. They are prolific seeders, and these are the type of plant. What I'll do is I'll put a picture up on this video if I can find one on the internet. But they're like a little purple flower, and they are really pretty. Now they do have all sorts of well, I've heard quite a few different stories about verbena. Again, this is a sort of biennial type, semi-hardy, the sort of perennial, where basically you plant it this year, and you know, you will see the actual plants next year. Now, in all honesty, now I've put all those in there, I'm not sure if I'm actually putting the seeds in or if I'm just putting petals in, to be honest with you. But it's I don't know, it's a really pretty plant, and it's it grows probably about sort of 3.5 foot high, and it's got these little purple flowers on, and the purple flowers sort of little sort of clusters, which are probably about the size of a 50p, or if you're not British, about sort of 3 or 4 centimetres across, and they are really nice and pretty. And as I say, these will grow in the greenhouse now for you know, till they start to come out. Then what I'll do is I'll pop these up, and then these will actually go in next year. So I'll sort of overwinter them, probably in the greenhouse, to be honest with you, whilst they're small. And then I'll be putting these out next spring in the garden, and I'll put some in the allotment as well. Now these are rumoured. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but these are actually rumoured to repel aphids. Apparently aphids don't like these, so if you plant these amongst your brassicas, that's supposed to help with sort of aphid infestations or whatever. But that's another plant that I'll be putting in. Obviously I've collected these seeds from a friend, so I've not got a seed packet telling me exactly what they are. But what I'll do is, this is a bit of an experiment. I'll put these in the greenhouse, see if they grow. If not, nothing lost. But that's verbena. Okay, so I'll just do a quick tour for this week. So as you can see, some of the stuff's gone from off here. The chickpeas have gone from off here. I've not put the lentils out because we're supposed to have bad weather tomorrow, so I thought it's probably best that I didn't put those in today. Likewise with all of the squashes and stuff. So I've left them in the greenhouse for today. I'll try and put those out next week. That's the kale that's coming on. As you can see, the beans are really growing now, so they're going to be going out. But I've not put them out again because of the bad weather we're potentially going to have tomorrow. Tomatoes are in this side, as you know, and I was asked a question about how have I supported it off the roof. And basically any sort of downward structure that you've got within the greenhouse will do. Obviously I've cable tied it all into there. Don't bother with string, use cable ties, it's considerably stronger. And then here I've put a bamboo cane down, attached from the top all the way down, and obviously they're all attached together, so they're not basically moving anywhere. Likewise at this side, again strapped onto these structures in there, which is also supporting the cucumber poles as well, and then that goes all the way over to the other side, and again it's held on to these sort of aluminium structures. So at the back we've got the cucumbers. As you can see, they're growing quite merrily at the moment. All of the tomatoes in the front. I haven't again put the sweet potatoes out because basically because we're going to have a bad snap of weather, or at least that's what's been forecast. So I've left those in the greenhouse. So those are all the tomatoes. The ginger, nothing else has come up, but you can see this one's developed slightly further now. So that's probably about 2 inches tall. Sweet corn, I've not watered yet. These are looking a little bit dry, but they're the sweet corn as well. They need to be potted up now, ready to go outside and harden off. So that's the greenhouse very quickly. As you can see here, the herbs and the comfrey at the end and everything's pretty much as it was last week. So there's not much to say there that's changed. got quite a few of the plants from here out over the last week or so. I've put some tomatoes down here, and what I'm planning to do is have a row of tomatoes here like I've done there, and I've just put a structure exactly the same as I've done in the greenhouse really, but and I'm also going to have a row of pots along there as well, so I'll be putting the tomatoes that are outside along here rather than putting them amongst the potatoes as I said I was going to, because I've changed my mind. Just in case I get blight, I'm just going to put them here out of the way. So the raspberries are developing quickly. I could do with getting some of the old sticks out of there, but I'll get onto that. Now I've weeded the potatoes, I've gone along there with the hoe, but there's still quite a few potatoes. They are coming, but they are quite slow this year to grow. They're the trees, as you can see there, not much movement there to be honest with you. The jossberry bushes are most certainly growing, but the trees don't seem to be shifting much since I've put them out. But as you can see, the spinach has really run to seed now, so that's going to be coming out very shortly. I've not done anything, that's where the sweet potatoes are going to go, but I've left those as is at the moment in the greenhouse. These potatoes seem to be doing a little bit better in the middle here. Not quite sure, I don't know if this ground's a little bit wetter here, but they actually went in after those, and these seem to be doing a bit better. I've done some weeding on the onions. I've weeded this first sort of quarter or so here, and I've also transplanted some onions in there that were missing out of the ones that I put in the tray, so that's been done. I've weeded all along here, and I've put in these sunflowers. As you can see, the kale is doing alright, and the other kale's doing alright. That's the Nero kale, and this is the curly kale, so they've all been watered, but I'm not watering tonight because we're going to get a load of rain tomorrow apparently. One problem that I've had this week, this is the normal green broccoli, the Calabrese broccoli. As you can see, it's already started to form the Florence, which is a bit of a problem. Pretty much all of them are starting to form the the Florence in the middle, which it really shouldn't be doing that until it gets to kind of, I don't know, about 3 foot, 2.5, 3 foot high. But all the way along, I'm not quite sure why it's doing it. If you do know, please let me know, because I'm not quite sure what to do with this. I don't know if to sow a second batch and just crop this and chop it all off and put a new load in, or I've also been advised to let these develop, cut them off, and then let them bush out and just sort of leave them in and do that. So, but anyway, this has not happened to me before, so it's happened. If it's happened to you before and you got round it, please do let me know. That's the purple sprouting broccoli, as you can see. That's sort of establishing itself, so that's doing quite well. Some more sunflowers here. These are the Swedes. The Swedes are doing really well. I need to weed them, to be honest with you, but the Swedes are doing really well. That's the spinach, this year's spinach, as you can see. That's doing really well. The parsnips are doing really well. They're all doing well, to be honest with you. Those are the ones that came out of the greenhouse. Those have been watered this week. And these ones are the original ones. As you can see, there's a little bunch of them there. These are all parsnips here. And these are the ones that were chitted, so they're kind of 6 inches apart, but they're all pretty much doing the same thing now. So this year at least, seemingly they've all sort of caught up with each other, and they're all doing quite well. That's where the beetroot is, and it is coming through. I can see, as I showed you last week, there's a beetroot plant there. So what I do need to do is get up here and weed all of these. The beetroot is showing signs of not having much water. As you can see, it's all kind of flopping over and stuff. I've been doing a bit of work up here. This fence here is to put the lentils up onto, and there's going to be another one next to it, about 18 inches apart. These are the chickpeas that have gone out today. I haven't got quite enough to finish that off, so I'll put some other plants up there or other. I'm not quite sure what to do with that yet. The calendulas are coming on strong, but that's pretty much as they were last week. These have all been watered in the week, to be honest with you, but there's not been a lot of movement because it's not been that warm. Coming up here, that's where the corn's going to go at the back there.
So what I need to do is dig all that out and give it a good, put some more compost in there and get that all ready for the corns to go out, which will be in the next few days really. Now we've got to the end of May, it really is time for it to go out. So what I'll do is I'll give that one more dig over, and I'll probably dig some more stuff in there as well, just to help it along. I've put some more beans in yesterday, and they've had a bit of water, even though it doesn't look like they have. And the lettuce is starting to fill out in the middle here. Now these beans that are the first batch kind of ended here. As you can see, they're really climbing up there, probably about 4 foot off the ground now. This one here is possibly going on for 5 foot. We have had a bit of wind, and this is tending to sort of unwind them a little bit. But I keep coming up and winding them back in. But as soon as they sort of get most of the way up, as you can see, that one there is probably about 5 foot. So that one's doing well. The onions are doing really well. I'm pleased with the onions this year. That's the first lot that went in. The second lot isn't as good, but I can't complain really, to be honest with you. There's probably about a dozen or so missing out of the second lot now, but it's doing well. This is the other side of the potatoes. As you can see, the spinach is really running off to seed now, so that's most certainly going to be finished in the next week or so. So I'll just try and salvage as much as I can off there. This is the other side of the potatoes. They seem to be doing quite well this side, but the other side there, they seem to be really slow growing. I'm not quite sure why. The raspberries here, unfortunately, we've got a bit of a problem here, a bit of a bald patch. So all I'm going to do is move some of these here over and just fill that gap in there. And there the strawberries. I don't know if the clip will be in this one, but the strawberries got painted. All the wooden framework got painted this week. I've put straw all round inside the strawberry beds, and I've put some fertiliser on to help them along, and I've also put the straw around and all the rest of it, so they're all ready to go. And that's pretty much the plot today. So we're sort of at the end of May. It's the 31st of May tomorrow, so this will be the last tour for May. So, I hope this episode of Jim's Allotment Garden has been of some use to you. Please don't hesitate to put any comments or questions you've got below, and I'll always get back to you, and I will see you on the next episode of Jim's Allotment Garden.